Hello everyone, I'm Mars and welcome back to Planet Mars. As you can see, I got a better camera. I hope you guys like it. Today's going to be more of a candid video, so it's unscripted. I just wanted to talk a little bit about mental illnesses that I have. So as you guys know, I am autistic, but I wanted to dive more deeply into other mental illnesses such as OSDD. Now, I am diagnosed of OSDD, which is, I know, interesting and was expensive. I'm sure many of you don't know a lot about it. There's a lot of fake claiming out there, too, for DID and OSDD, and I just wanted to talk about that first. So, before we get to the juicy bits that you want to know about, let's talk about fake claiming and why it isn't really helpful to people like me who had to dish out the dough to get diagnosed. Fake claiming makes me scared to talk about my symptoms, because no matter how well educated the fake claimer thinks they are, they're normally not psychologists, so they don't really know what they think they know. A lot of people seem to be very angry when people have, for lack of better words, cringy alters, or fictives, I think it's what it's called. And I'll explain later what those are. Trauma doesn't make you cool. It can even make you edgy. And your reaction to trauma can be very cringy. A lot of people, you don't get to choose how trauma affects you. So people with fictives that are, say, personalities that they didn't get them, they didn't choose them, but personalities that kind of are also on TV or in cartoons or something like that. People that have personalities that, say, someone has Steven Universe. They didn't choose that. That is something that happened to them because of their trauma. Now, I don't have any fictives. I have... Oh, Lord. Okay. I have about 4 other personalities, but no fictives. And I use personalities light because someone with DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, will have blackouts. So that is, to the best of my knowledge, the difference. And I will be including links below to articles that you can read yourself. If I get anything wrong, I'm sorry. And they don't remember everything. I thought I had DID for a long time because I would forget things, but I was really just dissociating, and so things were a little fuzzier, a little harder to remember, I think. But also, I've been told by a friend who was not a psychologist that because of another one of my mental disorders, I can forget things easily. But I do know, scientifically, since I have complex PTSD, you can forget that pretty easily. So you're probably wondering, gee, what made Mars like this? What kind of trauma did Mars go through? It's a secret. But we'll get back to the discussion at hand. OSDD is other specified dissociative disorder, I think. Remember, this is candid, it's not scripted. I have read up about OSDD and the search to know more about myself after I was diagnosed, but I haven't prepared for this video because I wanted it to be candid and I wanted it to be... I can't think of the word because I didn't prepare. It's not that I don't care about the information I'm presenting, I just wanted to be authentic. So an authentic person with OSDD or DID is not going to know everything about it, okay? That is a psychologist's job, and I would even go farther to say a psychologist that specializes in it. So a lot of the times when these fake claimers ask questions and stuff, we don't necessarily know. I thought that DID was an umbrella term for the longest time, as I thought that schizophrenia was an umbrella term. So I have schizoaffective as well. But that is completely different. Well, I wouldn't say completely, but it's different than schizophrenia. And the same thing with OSDD. So, my experience with it, because I'm not going to tell you guys how I got it. If I were to read my exact diagnosis criteria, I think I have OSDD 1, which means rather than having really distinct personalities, I have more, as my psychologist explained it to me, or I explained it to my psychologist, sorry. I have more angry me, child me, guilty me, and then happy me, if that makes sense. And then there's just me. And they all act in a different way. It's really embarrassing to start with this one, but I know there are other people out there that deal with this. I even have a friend who follows me that has dissociative identity disorder. Hello. I will not give you a shout out. So from my experience, yes, they act in ways that I'm not chill with at times, but since I have, never really anything too life-altering or horrible, obviously, but since I have begun my therapy journey about over a decade ago, I've gone to different therapists. I finally found a good one because I also have OCD, so I needed to go to an OCD specialist rather than constantly seeking reassurance. And since I've started working on my trauma, digging deep and working on that trauma, I have been able to manage it better. So there's less switching. I kind of try to force myself not to switch, which I'm not sure is good, or do not take this as advice. I try to force myself not to switch. I'm not sure if that's good for me or not. I may later on do a collaboration video with a friend who also has it, who handles it in the healthiest of ways, in my opinion. This is just how I do. I don't like switching, so I try really hard not to switch. When I do allow myself to switch, I feel that my memory gets fuzzy again, so I don't really like it. Sorry. Moving on. Since I've worked on my trauma, it's been easier to manage. There are less switches. Things are less fuzzy. But I don't just do whatever Mars wants to do all the time. I also do things that are a little different. I might wear the color pink. I might tell someone off. I might listen to music and dance. I might give myself 30 minutes to feel bad about something, then get past it. Now, see how all those are normal, right? A person with one personality can do that. My distinct personalities are very, very rigid. So the guilty one is guilty as sin, always guilty. She always feels bad. The angry one is pretty angry most of the time, chilled out a little bit as the therapy has continued. The child one is very childish, and the happy one is happy, happy, happy. I don't know if anybody's seen those reels on Instagram, but yeah, that's the best way I can explain it. So, we talked about fate claiming, we talked about my experience. Let's talk about your experience. Do you have a friend or loved one with DID or OCD? Do you have a friend or loved one with DID or OSDD? Would you like to talk about it down in the comments? No trolls. If I see them, I'll delete them. No worries. You guys take care. Bye-bye.